I'm Charlotte Dean, and I'm working on the COC production of the Rigoletto, working with Michael Levine, and who is designing the show.
Okay, hi, I'm Sandra, Corazza, head of the costume department, and we're looking forward to telling you a wee bit about Rigoletto costumes.
So we're looking here at one of the dresses of the courtesans or mistresses in the production of Rigoletto. We're set in the 1860s in a gentleman's club, and this is, I guess, what you refer to as a pretty big dress in the Victorian times. It's based on a hoop underneath the dress and a petticoat there and a hoop. So we have a hoop that is constructed of sprung steel and twill tape radius, and this helps hold out the skirt, because otherwise you'd have a big caved-in skirt. And earlier in the 1800s, there would have been petticoats doing this same function, but the skirts got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the petticoats were no longer able to actually hold the skirts out. So fortunately, the Industrial Revolution was going on, and steel was available.
And I had this skirt on earlier, and it's incredibly lightweight for the amount of space you take up in a room. It's pretty amazing.
And you won't have actually seen any steel there. I'm holding some steel here, and it is, we call it sprung steel because it springs. It's actually been coated with a plasticized finish, but then it's also encased in a twill tape, a cotton enclosure, which makes it much easier to sew and change the shape.
Whenever we do a show, we do a thing that's called a costume Bible, and it's called a Bible because it's that important. So we have Michael's sketches. These are just black and white. But then we start to make sheets. So it tells us where each piece of fabric came from. We try and get the width, how much we paid for it. I have copies of all the receipts because that's part of my job to pay the bills. We were fortunate in that we just took our Nightingale to New York. So I happened to be in New York, and I got to swatch a lot of fabrics down there. I mean, don't take offense. But it was very bizarre going through these stores in New York and kind of going, and they'd say, oh, here's our beautiful silks. And I'd be like, no, I gotta find the stuff that in today's mind looks tacky. So every time I was going through, I was like, no, those colors are too pretty. I need the garish colors, the tacky colors, the big plaids, the wacko stripes. But once you stick it all together, it's so of that period.
Did I hear you say earlier that some of the jewelry comes from Claire's, actually?
It comes from everywhere. We are going antiquing this weekend to see if there might be some, good stuff out there. I mean, that's kind of fool's paradise, thinking that there's great Victorian jewelry out there that we could use in the show. But sometimes there is, and sometimes it's really nice to have some, real pieces of the time in the show. But then you go to the mall and you look at something, and again, taken out of the context of spandex sweatpants, or it looks very Victorian. And there is actually, with the whole goth thing, and there are so many trends out there these days that you can look how they have taken some of their style trends from history, and that works to our advantage hugely, because we can make it slot in with maybe just changing a little element that will make it look a little more period correct.
And we've been warning all our ladies that come for fittings, no more sun tanning. No, we don't need any
Along
tan
the
lines.
Yes, the bathing suit tan lines didn't really exist back then.
No.
And then sitting down is a whole other exercise.
They're not allowed to sit. No sitting allowed.
I don't think they are actually going to be sitting in these, but
no.
And you can sit beautifully in these, but that takes another sort of trial and error, and practice.